Morning again, everyone. Here we are back, Honest Watch podcast. We're excited to be back in front of the camera. Thank you for watching last week's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And today we've got a really exciting topic. But anyway, I'm Charlie.
I'm Christian.
And we're here to talk about experiences at AD level. So Authorised Dealers. Now we're aware we're asking you to sit here watching us, listening to our opinions and just thrusting them in your faces. I feel like this is a topic that we both have good credentials on, mostly this one. So
sure. Yeah. So I've worked in the industry for just over 4 years. I've worked with every brand you can think of, apart from sort of really high-end stuff. So I've worked with Rolex, Omega, Tissot, Breitling, Tudor, every sort of Bremont, every brand you can think of that is like a standard multi-brand store.
And across two types of AD as well.
Yes, yeah,
absolutely. As in an independent and a corporate.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I would say who, but I mean it's
But I think that's good because I think, as we'll go into, sometimes you get different experience from independent ADs and from corporates. So that will be useful.
It's so massively different, like surprisingly different.
Well, so here you go. He's the man for this. And before we get into our topic today, which I'm sure we're all really excited about, we're going to do a quick wrist check. So, Christian first, what you got?
So I finally pulled this back out after a good couple of months in the watch box. The Explorer 2 Polar Dial.
Nice, a modern one as well.
Yes, the 12 reference, the 1260 something.
Was it
2022 onwards, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, nice.
Was it 23? Can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. But it's the new one.
And how are you finding it back on the wrist?
It's big.
Yeah,
it's big. It's surprisingly
reasonable. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, because it's such a flat watch, a 42mm, it seems big.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an Explorer 2. You can't
not
love it.
No, it's a perfect one watch situation, I reckon as well. But yeah, no, very, very nice.
What are you wearing?
I've got my Cartier Dumont Extra Large Platinum Limited Edition Jasper numerals. It's a platinum. It's a platinum Cartier, manual wine movement, Jasper sewn numerals, palm hands, and a lovely eggshell dial. And big up the strap tailor because I had a really cool bespoke strap made by him. It's a red camouflage. It comes on a brown one. It does do a good job, but I think the red brings.
It's not as nice as that.
No, it's not, is it?
That's way nicer.
It brings out the numerals and it brings out the ruby and the
100%.
crown. So for me, this is the way to do it. Strap tailor does a good job.
Completely agree.
So what we're going to do now we've done that, is we will get into our main topic. So the main topic we're going to divide into Rolex, AP, Patek and everything else. Because obviously they're watches you often can't buy and everything else you can buy. Mm-hmm. It probably seems easier and most relevant to start with Rolex. 1, because I have most experience with it. 2, because everyone wants to hear about it. And 3, because Christian also has experience on the other side of it. I think it's probably best you start with your thoughts around the Rolex AD experience and kind of maybe if you've got any anecdotes and things to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, within an AD, selling Rolex is, I guess, it's a privilege and also not a privilege at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you get to go work with a fantastic brand who does. A lot of people don't really notice or really care, but what Rolex actually does in terms of like, I guess, the planet in a sense, like they have a massive side. It's part of the Rolex charity.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's hundreds of things they do every year to try and help everything from saving the.
Well, they do oceans, forests.
They do. It's like everything.
Science.
So it's a privilege to work with them.
There's a lot, isn't there?
But it is very difficult to work with a brand that is in such high demand.
Yeah,
all the time.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I enjoyed selling Rolex when I did, but at the same time, it was quite sad actually because we had a lot of people that knew the game and were here to play the game. Were very happy and fun to deal with. I mean, I'd say that most of them weren't, but
irritating as fuck.
No, they're alright. It's just because they were playing the game. It's like,
sorry if you're one of Christian's previous clients.
Yeah, sorry. No, but I mean, it's fine. If people play the game, they play the game, and they were what we would call our sort of normal clients, and it was very kind of standard.
Mm-hmm.
People would come in who would want to buy so for example, a client came in and it was my first or second time working within Rolex.
Yeah.
And the guy, they give you the wait lists and wait times, and we can advise people on that sort of thing. So I had a guy come in, and he had just got a bonus. He wasn't rich, but he'd done very well for himself that year. Had a big bonus from his company, and he wanted to get something nice for himself.
Okay. Yeah.
And he came in and he said, I've looked online and I really there's a watch called the Daytona.
Oh, wonderful.
And I was like...
Good watch.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Do you know anything about it? He's like, no. So I was like, let me look at the back, see if I have one, see if I can show you, so you can sort of get hands on and see what you think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't, because, we just didn't have one.
Yeah.
And I had to sit him down and tell him about it, show him some photos, and he was, oh, fantastic, so when can I get one? Oh, no, he didn't ask me, he said, when can I get one? I was like, so can I buy it now?
Yeah.
And I was like, here's the downside.
Yeah.
So the Daytona is a very in-demand watch. I had to explain to him that it's a 10 to 12 year wait at the place I was working. And this guy looked like I was, on something. He was like, are you joking? He was like, you're not, selling Ferraris or something.
Yeah.
You're not selling really high-end cars for like $500,000. It's a £13,000 pretty standard watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the only downside I think to selling Rolex personally.
I guess that is a weird thing, isn't it? Because for me, I'd have to take myself back to when I first started this stuff, like 8 years ago or whatever it was, to actually begin to put myself back in that mindset. Because obviously to us it's so obvious.
Well, yeah.
Like, we're used to the market how it is now. A lot of people watching might actually be used to the market before, where you could go in and buy stuff.
Yeah.
If you've been into this hobby for, I guess it kind of all got a bit crazy. It was about 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So if you've been into this hobby for 20 years, you probably remember before that. But yeah, now we just assume we're walking in, and we assume that when we walk in, we're not going to be able to buy the watch. We're going to have to play a bit of a game. It might be a little bit of a wait, whether it's 6 months, 5 years, whatever, depending on the watch. But yeah, I guess really putting yourself in a normal person's shoes is fucking wild.
It's mental.
Why when this company produces so many freaking watches, why can't I get one?
The watch industry is absolutely mental. It really is.
Interesting one though. Okay, so one more bit from you on this before I go. Wait lists.
Right.
Now, I don't know what your experience is. You might be able to draw on it from the corporate company you worked at as well, from a different brand perhaps. But are wait lists chronological, or like, as in, is it literally, if you put your name in first, you get the first watch, or is it a relationship thing? Like, people are going to want to know this.
I'm never going to have to work in the watch industry.
Yeah. Oh, ruined Christian's career. There we go.
So, what people think, which is the more you spend, the more you get, is true.
Oh, okay, right. So it's not a timeline.
So within a watch store, you have your list, you have your wait lists.
Yeah. So there are names on a list somewhere.
And they are chronological order.
Okay.
First come, first serve.
Right.
Then we have, above that, we have not client lists, but we have very rememberable clients, people who we know, people that we see them every day, but every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And they good to us and we're good to them.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
And then you have the two or three people above that who are like the people in the middle, but they spend ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So, like VIP clients type thing.
Yes. Yeah. And we had a client who we had bought in a custom piece for a client.
Okay.
And then they turned around at the end and said they didn't want it. Now, we'd already forked out, I think the company had forked out like 60 odd grand or something.
Jesus. Right, okay.
For this watch. That was cost.
Yeah.
And
should have called me.
should have called. And we were like, what are we going to do with this ridiculous watch? Because it wasn't. To me, it wasn't a nice watch. No. It was a
personal taste.
I won't say what watch it was, but it was. Let's say it was a large gold watch, smothered in diamonds. The whole thing was just a bling magnet.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was rancid. It was a horrible watch, but it was worth a lot of money.
Sure. Yeah.
And we had a client who we had known for a little while, but hadn't really spent much money with us. And then he came and was like, "Oh, we're looking at this, looking at that," and he said, and this is when I was still there, and he said, "Well, if I buy a couple of pieces, can I get this?" And he thought, "Well, what sort of thing are you looking for?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for this." And we're like, "Well, we have a version of this you can buy."
Okay. Yeah.
Have a look. And he looks at it.
Yeah.
Looks at it. 120k watch, covered in diamonds, big monstrosity basically. And he went, "Right, well, here's my credit card. Here's a 120k," and we were like,
"Right,
okay." He means business. Came 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Bought a solid gold day.
Oh, okay, nice.
Came another week later.
Yeah.
Bought a solid gold Daytona.
Okay. Yeah.
Then came a week later, and he was like, "Well, I want the stainless steel Daytona. I want a Pepsi, and I want." I think at the time it was just when the Sky Dweller came out with the green dial.
Yeah, nice.
So the rose gold green dial was really hard to get for a while.
Oh yeah, the turquoisey thing. Yeah.
Within I think 6 months you got all 3.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to do it, don't you?
Because by the time he'd done, he'd forked out about $250,000.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, like, business is business.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you are running a business, and if you have a client who's going to give you more money, you're going to treat that client in a slightly better way. Well, not a better way. But
not more respectful.
No.
But they're giving they're paying your wages.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt rather than
the
guy who. And the thing is, I prefer the guy who comes in and wants to sit with you for 2 hours and talk to you about 5 different watches.
Yeah.
That's a nicer chat to me.
Yeah, sure.
Than sitting down with someone who thinks they're a massive baller because they're buying $500,000 worth of watches.
Okay.
Obviously it's preference, you can do what you want, but.
No, it's interesting actually. So money does talk, but
when you find the right place at the right time, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I
get you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think in that instance, like, the reason I wanted to put my opinion across on this topic was because I kind of have played a bit of a game, and I haven't spent copious amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that, nowhere near that level. Nowhere near that level. So I'll do this briefly because this spans over about 8 years or so. I got very lucky with my first watch purchase. I went in, I was actually interested in an Air King at the time, believe it or not. They were cheaper. It was the cheapest, in fact, it was because it was the cheapest watch in the Rolex range, and I wanted a Rolex because people at work had Rolexes. So the watch was $4,500 at the time. So it was back then, I think it was about 8-9 years ago. And I'd gone in, put the watch aside, because it was a lot of money for me to spend at the time. So I'd gone in and thought about it, tried it on, because it was in the window, put it aside, had a lovely conversation with one of the sales assistants there. And I told her how I was getting into it and what my dream watch was at the time. Whilst I was buying this Air King, the dream watch was a GMT at the time. So I was a simple man with simple pleasures. I just wanted to steal. I wanted to steal GMT, and this was before things got crazy. But there weren't any in the window. So anyway, I put this Air King aside. I went back the next day, and with the money for the Air King, and it was going to be a big, and it was tough putting that money down on your first watch. Card shaking.
Always is.
And it gets a lot easier, believe me. And she said to me as I was trying on the Air King the second day on a Sunday, she said, "Well, what was your dream watch again?" I was like, "Oh, the GMT," and she was like, "I might have one in the safe." So she literally walked downstairs, brought this out. It was the black, all black. The dream watch was actually a Batman at the time, but I'm glad I didn't buy it. Don't really like him anymore, a bit gaudy. But I bought the black one in the end, and that was a huge sum of money for me at that point. But I scraped it all together, gave her some cash, some credit card. It was all over the place. But I got the watch that I wanted, and I got that as my first watch into an AD. First Rolex, first one from that company, and I didn't have to have a purchase history, nothing. Because I spent time going in there and they truly believed that was the watch I wanted and I wasn't going to sell it. And 8 years on, I haven't sold it. It's still there.
Just as a question, I don't know if you remember this. How were you dressed and how did you act when you walked in there?
It's a very fair question, actually. I acted like an excited school kid. I was excited to get into watches, and I enthusiastic. I was enthusiastic. I didn't know about watches, and I was very open that this was the dream, and I really wanted to get one because I got this job. It wasn't to mark the job, but I got a job where I could finally afford to do something like this. Yeah. So I guess I was very enthusiastic.
Fine.
I don't think I would have come. No, in fact, I definitely didn't come across moneyed because I told her I had to pay for the GMT, I had to pawn off something else, to give her half cash, half credit card, all this. So
Right.
she knew I didn't have money, but I was young.
Yeah.
I still am reasonably young, but I was a lot younger. I was older than you, but young. And I guess they maybe just thought there was longevity in me buying them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I bought that, and then since then, I've developed my relationship with that AD through different people in there. Gone to events. They kindly invite me to. Gone to previews of watches when they've come out. Like, I've had a great time with them, and that spans across a number of different brands. But I mostly buy Rolex from them, and since then, yeah, I've bought a few like lower demand models. I've had a couple of date adjusts, things like that, that have come and gone from the collection. I never sold anything within the window that they're not very pleased with you selling it in, because one, I like to wear my watches, and two, I really didn't want to ruin the relationship.
Sure.
But long story short, I've had, Daytonas, I've had GMT, I've had subs, I've had, got still a Pinko P. So I've got a few things that are obviously high demand.
Bear in mind, Pinko P when it was hard to get a Pinko P.
Yeah, harder than now.
Yeah.
And I think, and the reason that's kind of happened is, one, because I spent across other brands. I bought some Gerald Perregaux back in the day. I bought an Omega on sale, things like that. So
I still missed that. That GP was a great one.
I even bought some Tissot's for gifts as well. So there was other brands that were around. But basically, it's meant that I've got, I think, every watch I've wanted from
Your
them.
purchasing must look fantastic.
It's fantastic, but it's not huge value like you're talking about there. You know what I mean? It's a reasonable value, but it's across brands.
Yeah.
And I've made the point, and I made the point when I used to live locally to the dealer. I went in there every other weekend and had a chat with everyone. And I went in there, and it wasn't like a fluffy chat. It was about watches, but also about them, about me. And one of the people in that shop is now a very close personal friend.
Yes.
And it's aside from watches. I do give him a nudge every now and then about, are you going to get me this or not? But I try and keep it off. Yeah. But it's about we've developed an actual relationship around it. So that would be my advice on Rolex: is go in, be honest with what you want, but also be open to the fact that you might have to purchase something else before you get the one you really want.
Yeah.
And keep talking to them, keep being open with them, because ultimately it's a trust thing. Christian or whoever else is in the shop is not going to sell you a Daytona if they think you're going to flip it.
Yeah.
So you've got to build that trust.
Plus, the biggest thing for us is we had a lot of people that would just come in, they'd say hi, you'd sit down for an hour, be really nice. They put their name for a Daytona, which we do. I've heard some ADs. I've never seen this in person. Something for us for an AD. Daytona, to be fair, but I've heard in person that you will be told, no, you can't put your name for a Daytona, put your name for something else first. We would never do that.
Yeah.
Always, if you want a Daytona, absolutely, you're waiting 12 years though. I mean, put your name down, not a problem. Like, we would put it on the list, like we would show them the list. Like, not the list, but we'd show that they're on there.
Yeah.
And, absolutely. But if you come in once, put your name down, and that's it, never see us again, and you're just waiting for that call, you're going to not see us again in 12 years, we're going to forget about you.
We're never going to call.
We're never going to... Honestly, we keep a tab on like names and like how many people come in like per not per year, but like when the last time we saw them, basically, like a year tab. And if we haven't seen you for like 3 years, you come off the list basically.
Yeah. And that's I can attest to that. Like in fact, I know that the dealers, well, the big AD that I buy my Rolexes from, at least, they have a CRM system that they enter this into when you visit, and when you visit different stores.
I see use that.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I think from a Rolex point of view, just keep talking to people.
Honestly, it's the easiest thing. If you make yourself, I know it sounds contradictory, but make yourself memorable but not annoying.
Yeah.
So
fine balance.
I don't know how to, don't bribe us. Don't give us gifts. I mean, you can if you want, but.
Yeah.
Don't come in with like a hot chocolate or a coffee or a box of chocolates or wine. We appreciate it, but we can't give you treatment because of that, because then it becomes illegal. So we can't, come in and just say hi, and if you can see that we're not having a bad day, but if we're having you see that one of us is a bit off, maybe try and cheer us up or have a good chat with us. You know,
I think be human is what you're trying to say.
Basically, just you know, come in and just be yourself. Be kind. You know, just be normal. Don't come into an AD and think, oh, these people are going to be the be all and end all of what watch I'm going to get. We're not. You might walk into another AD in 6 months and they might just give you a Daytona.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard this happen. Like, it happens occasionally. But just be human.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Go and be nice.
That's
just
a good
normal.
point. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And I think it's a good place to finish the Rolex thing on around that. But I wanted to briefly touch upon AP.
Before we go from Rolex, with that, you're not saying don't come in once. Don't come in every week either.
I don't want to see you every week. Yeah.
Come in every 3 months and say hi. Every 4 months maybe.
Yeah.
We remember you, I promise.
Yeah.
Like, we see a lot of people, and the people that come in once we forget. People who come in 5-6 times a year, we will remember you. And you are more likely.
Okay.
I have a client of mine in an old store who, when the Tudor Black Bay ceramic came out, first Messhouse Movement, a fantastic watch, he put his name down for it, and he was like 10th. And I was leaving that store to go to another one in like 2 months. And he was a very good client of mine, made me a lot of commission, and honestly, I love having a chat with him, good guy. The first one came in, I gave him the call straight away.
Yeah.
Other people first, yes, I completely agree. But he was at that point, pretty a mate of mine, wasn't you?
No.
But at that point,
he built the relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to me, he was worth getting that watch first. So we did.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
Sorry, Karen.
No, it's fine. Actually, that helps what I'm going to say, because the AP situation I've had is solely relationship building. Like
Really?
I went into first I had a bad experience with a large corporate company around AP, where they wouldn't pull my Rolex history across to allow me to buy I wanted a 37mm steel Royal Oak. So obviously they were in very high demand, not as high demand necessarily as the 41s, but turns out pretty high still. They don't make as many. So, and I was told that I was openly told I had to buy a ladies' piece, an offshore, or a code 1159 before doing that. So I don't have the money to do that, to be quite transparent. So I left that, and I was lucky enough that I got a bit of an intro into the boutique in London, the AP boutique in London. Again, there's a couple, so I won't name exactly which one, but maybe you can work it out. But there's the boutique in London from a friend of mine who worked in a Regent Street store. That recommendation was really good. It got me in, starting a chat with this guy. But I was completely open with him. I was like, I want any colour, 37mm steel Royal Oak, and I do not have the money to buy something in advance of getting that. And the chap said to me, that's fine. And I was like, oh, okay, right. He said, you don't have to buy anything else, but you will wait. And I said, okay, yeah, I understand that. We tried on a load of other watches, had a really good chat. Turns out he's a proper enthusiast. He's really into it, the brand, the movements, the history, everything, the design. And I'd go up to London probably once every quarter. So yeah, once every 3 or 4 months. Yeah. And we'd have a chat. You came with me once as well.
Yeah. Nice guy, to be fair.
Yeah, really nice guy. And I'd spent time, I would say I probably spent 2 years building a relationship, but not spending any money. And then I got a call, and he got me the baby blue 37mm Royal Oak, so probably the hardest one to get, as my first watch from AP, direct from the dealer. During a time, fine, watches were getting a little bit easier to buy, but still.
Did you get any gifts?
No, I didn't.
Did you?
No.
Did you persuade anyone? Did you try and barter? Did you actually?
No,
It was just relationship building.
Yeah, in fact, and I never actually asked for the watch again a second time. I kept going in, trying on lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And I WhatsApped him a lot. Like, we used to talk on WhatsApp. Like, not, I don't know how his dog's doing or anything like that. But I used to check in with him, and when a new release would come out, or when Patek did something stupid, which they seem to be doing a lot, I would text him and be like, have you seen this? And then we'd go back and forth for a while. Yeah. So that was really good. And I was really pleased, obviously, to be able to buy that. And it was the only way I was going to be able to get the AP I wanted, was to put in that time. And so it is doable, but you have to make them believe and trust that you will not flip that watch. Because believe me, like as an enthusiast, I will not flip that watch as an enthusiast.
Yeah.
Unless my life falls apart, I will die with this watch on. I will be on the street homeless with that Royal Oak on.
Yes.
And that will happen. So tough time with jobs at the minute. And I will keep that Royal Oak on. If I have to work in a coffee shop, I will do it with a Royal Oak on.
Yeah,
but
right.
So I won't flip it, and they just need to trust that. That's all it is. It just takes time. And
yes.
Obviously they have clients, like Christian said, that spend big money that will be priority over you. So you have to understand that and just keep doing what you can. But they did a really good job, and yeah, I'm happily a Royal Oak owner.
Yeah, there you go.
You've not worked with AP before though, have you?
No, so I've the highest brand I've worked with is Rolex. I've
Okay,
worked
cool.
with literally everything
Yeah.
down there. It's pretty quite a nice segue onto non-brand,
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay.
You could say about Patek maybe if you.
Yeah, I'll do a quick one on Patek. I don't want to take all the thunder on this episode, but I guess I've bought more stuff. So Patek, real quickly. I'm not an expert on Patek, hands down. Don't know references, don't know movements, none of that.
Not a clue. So.
No, I just wanted an Aquanaut. Obviously, I wanted an Aquanaut.
Of course. Yeah.
Thankfully, again, I got quite lucky. So I bought not the Grail Aquanaut. I have a Aquanaut Luce khaki. So it's a quartz model, 38mm, so the perfect size for me, and it's got diamonds around the bezel. Now, yes, sounds a little bit feminine, but actually, I mean, it works. I know you don't like it much, but
I mean, yeah, it's alright. I think it helps that it's green.
yeah, the khaki's lovely.
Yeah, the khaki, yeah, it's good colour. Good colour.
And anyway, I wanted to get an Aquanaut, and again, the corporate chain would not allow me to buy an Aquanaut,
Fine.
no matter which one it was, even quartz, even diamonds, even a higher end one that would cost a fortune. They wouldn't let me buy any of them without buying like a Calatrava or a complication first. Again, if you know Patek, a Calatrava or a complication will start at £30,000. Do not have that money for a watch I don't want. Or for a watch I want most of the time, but definitely not for a watch I don't want. So I got lucky. One of my contacts, but also I guess now friends as well, moved from somewhere where I used to buy watches from him to an independent who happens to be a authorised dealer for Patek, and I bought a few bits off him. We carried on the relationship that I bought an Amiga and I think maybe a GP off him from the previous store. He put some Cartiers my way, this one. He put some limited Cartiers my way. I turned a lot down, but bought two.
Yeah.
Reasonable spend.
Yeah.
Just to put it out there as well, I financed those Cartiers as well. Like I don't put most of my watches on finance.
No.
But he was very, very flexible with me, very, very understanding, and I really appreciated that. And then we started talking about Patek, and he couldn't get me the steel automatic that everyone wanted. That's fine. But this was on my list, this quartz one, because he said I like the green. Mm-hmm. And he came through with it after, I don't know, about 9 months of waiting.
It's really good.
And again, it was a trust building exercise. Even though, I was going to say his name now, I'm not going to say his name. Even though he is my friend, I guess I'd consider him a personal friend, he still needed to believe that I wasn't going to sell that watch on, because the Aquanaut Luces, they're 19 grand and then they're worth like 40 second hand.
Yeah.
Worst case 35. So there's a big temptation there.
Yeah.
And he just needed to trust that I wasn't going to do that. And, well, I haven't done that. In fact, I have broken it quite recently, but we won't go into that. But yeah, no, so I spent time again. But what I'm trying to say is it's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
I had to spend on Cartier, but they were nice enough to move across brands. So I guess my other little bit of advice here would be, if you want a particular watch from a particular brand and your AD won't allow you to buy that watch first and is trying to leverage something, go somewhere else.
100%.
And they might allow you to buy something from a different brand that you do really want to bulk up your history. You might not have... You don't want to be buying jewellery you don't want, but obviously always do your research, and people like Christian won't want people to know this, or won't want people to really be looking into things, because you're going to want to be able to sell a watch.
Yes.
But, there has to be a limit. I love the idea of going in and buying from an AD. I think all of the watches I currently own in my collection have been bought from an AD. And none of them are second-hand watches. But with that said, I've done that in the past. I've gone both ways, and I think there has to be a limit to what you will pay for the experience. in my personal opinion, everyone's going to be very different. Let's say, for example, Speedmaster, easy one.
Sure.
You're buying a Speedmaster, let's say the white one, because I was actually quite tempted by that. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. I feel like they're like $7,000 or something. Now, if you're going to go in and buy that watch for $7,000, the aftermarket for a brand new one that is untouched, if it's 5K, maybe even 6K, 5K, something like that.
So, yeah.
You might still buy from the AD, even with that knowledge that in your head that you can get it that much cheaper, because you're paying for the experience, you're paying for the relationship, you're paying because you might want to buy a new watch from them and its purchase history, you're paying for peace of mind on the watch, where it's come from, the service, and the culpability if something goes wrong. You go back, you chat to someone, and it's easy.
I think the biggest thing for me about buying a watch from AD, because it's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through any internet stuff. You can just walk into a store and there's people like me willing and ready to talk to you. The biggest thing for it is if you are buying Rolex or Omega, there's so many good fakes out there now. And I mean seriously good fakes that sometimes that we don't miss. Actually, we've never really missed them. I didn't. But
people would.
But we've had several occasions where people come in and go, "I bought this online. Bought it from this place or that place. It seems a bit off. Can you have a look?" And I look at it and go, "That's a cheap £300 Chinese fake." And the guy goes, "I just spent $6,000." I'm like,
"Yeah,
sorry."
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna spend the money, one, make a relationship. Two, we get commission of the same amount of money you're spending, so buy from us anyway.
Yeah.
And still ask for a discount.
Yeah.
We'll affect our commission, but we don't care. As long as you're happy and you have a watch, and you spend God knows how much with us, we don't care. And it's just buying from an AD. If you're good at, if you know what you're looking at, and you want to buy second hand and get it super cheap and you get a really good deal, 100% go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. If you spend the same price online, it's usually quite hard to get a discount. Well, depending on where you shop, but it's harder. Just come to a store, say hi, have a free coffee, free champagne probably. Talk to us for an hour, have a good chat, walk away with a nice watch with 10% discount.
Yeah.
Why not?
And you remember the experience, I think that's the thing,
100%.
and it's always a positive thing.
Makes the watch more special.
And I think you did touch upon there the second-hand market, and we said we'd look at that, and that is the but. Like, for me personally, if that watch is 40% cheaper on the aftermarket, I have a little bit of knowledge of these things. I'm not an expert, but I have enough knowledge to know if a modern watch is legit or not.
Yes.
I'm buying it aftermarket at that point.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a significant amount of money, and everyone will have their limit as to what they will pay.
Yes.
And that's for you to work out, I guess. And then on that note, I guess a last point on that, there are obviously reputable places to buy second-hand. Like, don't do eBay, don't do Chrono24 if you don't know what you're doing.
If you've been in the watch industry for like 5 years, or not in the watch industry, but if you've been buying watches for like 5 years, you bought a couple of second-hand pieces, 100% keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You might get, maybe once in your lifetime, you might get hit once with a fake.
Everyone gets shafted on something.
Yeah. You might get shafted once, but 90% of the time you'll probably be right if you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
If you knew, and you're watching this podcast because you just found it on YouTube somewhere and you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do not buy second hand unless you know what you're looking at.
Well, not Chrono24, not eBay. That's what I was saying. Like, don't do it on a platform.
Yeah.
Like, there are places you can buy if you're
Don't do it online, basically.
There's a couple of caveats.
Caveats.
Subdial. Buy on Subdial.
Subdial, yeah.
They're legit. There are some auctions that are very good for this type of thing as well.
Sterling auction, right?
Yeah, I buy from Sterling Vault quite often as well. I sell some bits there as well. But there are legitimate places to buy.
Yeah.
And I guess Watchfinder prices are going to be inflated, but you're getting the real stuff. Again, I personally, I'd use Subdial, as I said, or something like that. But other than that, stay offline if you don't know your stuff and go in and see the watch. I think that would be the advice on that. But generally, AD experiences, pay for them, go and have a good time.
And if you found a model that doesn't exist anymore, so, for example, a watch that I wanted for a while was a Dogster T750, which is their GMT. If you really want that watch and you're dedicated, you want to spend the money, you don't care how much it is, but you want that watch, get a second-hand watch dealer to get it in for you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Get them to source the watch instead of you sourcing the watch. Because if they get it and then they sell it to you and it's dodgy, you still have a place to go.
Yeah,
you still have a place to go back to.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
We make sure it's someone else's problem before it's your problem.
Yeah, and if they're a legit business, consigning items, sourcing items, then they will have insurance on these things anyway. Yes. So. And they'll have watchmakers that can check things over. So 100%, I would agree on that. Did we have any questions that came in?
I asked. So I asked my Instagram. I mean, I found a couple. Honestly, I had.
Let's address those really quick.
Yes,
I'm conscious of time. Let me have a look. I've got one on a specific model.
Okay, fine.
So
I have quite a generic one. So I had.
You go first. Yeah.
So because we're working a gent asked, obviously he's in the industry, Red Bar gent, actually really nice guy. He asked, is it hard to not tell people when you know about the models coming out? Yes and no. Some brands will tell us like a month before to prep us for, like usually we'll have Zoom calls for training on those specific models. When they come out, they come to us on the day, so they're already shipped out to us, already have watches in the safe at the back for Waitlists and Wonders whenever. And yes, and the problem is it's usually really boring brands that give us not boring but not innovative. So they'll give us the insider information, but it's insider information you don't really care about. So we're just as surprised as you when Waitlists and Wonders comes out and there's a new Tudor or a new Rolex or this or that. It's like, we might be told about like a new like tag chronograph that's getting released and we're like, cool.
Yeah, I guess so. It's not on the end of your tongue to tell people anyway at that point. But okay, interesting. I just had one on a really generic, boring one about. Sorry to whoever asked. Just about how long does it take nowadays to get a steel sports model from Rolex?
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't work in AD. Christian currently doesn't either. We don't know the exact answer, but I do go into ADs basically every week because that's how sad I am. And I also talk with a lot of my friends who are legitimate close friends who work within them still. It differs where you are, it differs on purchase history, but generally it seems as though the state of the market now, Submariners, pretty available. Like, it will take time, but the wait is not years anymore, guys. Like, do not wait years for a Submariner, especially a black one. You don't need to wait a long time. Explorer 2s, you don't need to wait a long time. Explorer 1s, you don't need to wait a long time. Obviously, steel Daytonas, you are still going to wait a long time. GMTs, in general, you will wait a long time. Obviously, with the Pepsi being still the most in demand by quite a long way. And it does seem as though the Oyster Perpetuals are still pretty hard to get. Prices come down a bit aftermarket, so there's going to be less dealers interested. But like, I guess the watches are still $5,500 and they're selling for 8 or 7 or so, which still a bit of profit. So I think I don't know the answer to that bit of the question, but it seems as though most things, bar Pepsis and Daytonas, steel Daytonas, seem to be pretty available. And I am absolutely intrigued to see how available the Land Dweller is going to be. I don't know which way it's going to go.
I mean, we know the answer.
No, we don't know the answer. I've heard people say some bad stuff about that watch. Look, no, we'll do that on a different episode. We're not going to go into a Land Dweller right now. Right. So, I want to thank you guys for watching again. Really appreciate your eyes and your ears. This one's been a bit of a longer episode, so again, that's probably about an hour of your time you're not getting back.
Well, yes, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. As many comments as we can. Want to hear your opinions, what your thoughts about your AD experiences, good and bad. Tell us your opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Tell us if Christian's wronged you. If he's screwed you over in his dealership, we want to know about it. Absolutely. Good and bad and everything. But thank you very much, and we hope to see you again next week. Yes, absolutely. So it's goodbye from me. Goodbye from me. Have a lovely weekend. See you soon. Cheers.